This is NBC 15 Law Call.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Law Call. We've got the answers to your legal questions. Here's what's coming up tonight on Law Call. We'll be talking with Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson about COVID-19, the mask ordinance, schools, and social distancing. If you have a question or a comment, give us a call right now. The phone lines are open, 877-622-1548. But first, joining us live is attorney Bill Eiland from the law firm of Eiland and Ritchie. And Bill, I really like when we do these kinds of programs because just a few weeks ago we had the police chief on. We had a really good conversation because he came on right as we were experiencing the protests and unrest in the city, and it was a really great conversation. So I'm excited we have the mayor on here tonight.
No, I can't be any more happy that we were able to get the mayor and that the mayor agreed to come on. I can only imagine, what maybe some of his thought processes may have been when we asked him to come on. But I'm a big fan as to the policies that he's put in place. Some people don't agree with it, but that's just part of our country. You can agree to disagree, but I'm extremely happy to have him do what he's done, and extremely happy to have him on the show tonight.
All right, well, let's get right to it. We've got the mayor on the phone joining us live right now. If you have a comment or question, the phone lines are open. Please give us a call. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's your first time on LawCall, I believe.
It is. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late. And before we jumped into questions about coronavirus, I wanted to congratulate you on your latest addition to the family here, your granddaughter, Kate. We have a picture of her. She's beautiful. You're holding your granddaughter there. This is granddaughter number 7?
That's correct. That's exactly right. And I have another grandchild going to be born shortly.
Oh, wow. So that'll make 14. That will 14. Be the 14th. Wow. Lots of grandkids. Well, she is beautiful. I hope everyone is happy and healthy and doing well.
We are, and thank you for asking it all. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about COVID-19. There was some news tonight that I'd like to get your reaction to. The ABC board tomorrow holding an emergency meeting, apparently talking about a proposal that might close bars statewide at 10 o'clock from the sale of alcohol, bars and restaurants. I don't know, did you know much about this, or have you been talking to state officials about this, and what's your opinion?
Andrea, I did not see the news, and I did not know that, and I was not part of that conversation. I'd have to say I'm not surprised, because I think that you see that going on in other states. And so I think we're all trying to learn from each other what our best practices. And so I would have to say that I'm not surprised that the conversation is going on.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Is that something that you would support? I know that bars and restaurants, they've been hit really hard through the pandemic, and they're just trying to survive through this. But I know health officials, you have to balance that with the concerns of health officials that are concerned that people mingling at bars, they're not wearing masks, that's contributing to the spread in our communities. So where do you stand on this?
The unfortunate thing is that there's not a lot of science, to back up the belief, and I think some people think it's kind of common sense to think that you could have the spread of the disease in the bars. It would be really nice to absolutely know that, because there are a lot of people that own those facilities that have, maybe their life invested in their facilities. So those are the kind of difficult decisions that we find ourselves having to make right now. And this, it's kind of based on gut feel. And when you're talking about the livelihoods of people, having the bars, that's some of the toughest decisions that we have. So I'm just going to be interested in seeing what their rationale is, and we'll make a determination going forward.
Yeah. And Andrea, I have a question. Mr. Mayor, you were one of the first mayors in the state of Alabama to impose a mask ordinance, and I know that you've taken a lot of heat about that. And what was your thinking when you did so? Kind of ahead of a lot of, and let's don't mince words. A lot of conservative politicians have kind of restrained from doing so. Mayors, governors, the like, but you kind of came out even ahead of the governor. What was your thinking in doing so?
So, Bill, we have conversations really almost, well, we do have conversations every single day about COVID. We're swapping information with the mayors of the 10 largest cities, with the governor's office, watching what's going on in other places. And what we were hearing, though, was from the medical community. And really the triggering event for me was one of the hospital CEOs saying, Mayor, if you would give me the opportunity, I will come to the city council meeting and I will beg them to do this. And he said, the number of people I'm starting to see come through the hospital, just continues to go up. The number of deaths are going to continue to go up. So I find myself at that conversation saying, how can I stop that? So we've got to be able to allow the chief medical officers or the CEOs to come speak to the city council. And of course, that was, earlier this month or the very, very end of last month. And you heard the conversations of what the evidence that they were presenting, and the city council acted on it. So, it's a struggle. I mean, you sit there thinking that maybe this is something we should do or something we shouldn't do. But I finally got comfortable with the situation that we needed to do this.
Yeah, that was an incredible council meeting. I was at that meeting, and that was an unprecedented, I believe, show of support from the medical community. You had all the hospitals, the health officer, everyone there, all with the same message. That was a pretty powerful council meeting. We do have a question coming in from Zane that is related to masks. Zane wants to know, is it legal for restaurants or businesses in Mobile to kick out patrons, if they are not wearing a mask?
Since that's a legal question, I may let Bill answer that question.
Well,
because I don't want to get into me trying to be the lawyer or the judge on this.
Right. No, Mr. Mayor, and I wouldn't want to put you in that spot. And I will answer that question without going into a lot of constitutional law and things of that nature. Absolutely, 100%. If you do not want someone coming into your business not wearing a mask, you have every right not to have that person in there. And I've seen it happen. Several weeks ago, I did LawCall maybe 3 weeks ago from Chicago. My daughter lives in Chicago, and we had to go visit her and actually take her back to Chicago. And I was amazed at the restrictions, but they were kind of ahead of the curve up there. They've kind of gotten ahead of this. And if you try to go to Target, or if you try to go to a restaurant and you didn't have a mask on, you wasn't getting in. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And I've been proud to see today, I saw several businesses where people tried to go in and they're like, no, you can't go in. You have to have a mask on first. And so, but the general question, absolutely. If a business does not want you coming in there, they have every right to keep you from going in. There's just, kind of like no shirt, no shoes, no service. Well, if you don't have a mask, they can keep you out.
Bill, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, we see it all the time with no shoes, no shirts, no service. So that was going to be my answer.
Yeah, Mayor, I'm curious, have you heard about many... Mayor, have you heard about many people challenging this? I just haven't seen much on social locally. I've seen it nationally where people get really volatile and they're yelling, at the staff who's telling them to put on the mask. I haven't seen that kind of confrontation here in Mobile.
Very, very little makes it to me about some type of confrontation. And in fact, I really can't think of, but maybe getting one text or something about seeing a confrontation. So really, I think that citizens of Mobile are doing a good job.
And not to, not to try to praise false praise or bring false praise on the mayor. I think a lot of the reason that we're having less conflict here is because he got ahead of this early, even again before Governor Ivey did. And I got ahead of this. People didn't like it. People complained and they, groaned and moaned and this and that, but they're getting used to it. And so, again, I think it was because it was implemented early on. Maybe not as early on as some places in some states, but at least in the state of Alabama, it was implemented pretty early.
Okay, we've got another question here. Jody, Mayor Jody wants to know how will COVID affect Mardi Gras? Is there a timeline on a decision?
So I had a conversation with some people involved, very involved with Mardi Gras, and our feeling was that we'd be premature at this point in time to try to predict what we're going to do, because the option is either you're going to have Mardi Gras or you're not going to have it, or there's something in between, like you may not have the parades, but maybe you allow the balls, and all that has got to be really discussed. And so we haven't done it yet, but my guess is within the next 60 days, we'll get very serious about that conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the timeline for when do the groups need to know? Do they express that to you? When do they need to kind of know so they can plan?
Well, I think that some of them would like to know right now, but push came to a shove. They don't have to know right now. It would be convenient for them to know it, but they don't have to know that. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, and Andrea, I think everything's fluid. Like the mayor said, I mean, not only does it change from week to week and month to month, I mean, this is changing from day to day. And I'm a big, college football fan and NFL fan. And, again, the news you hear from day to day changes. And so I don't think we really know until, we get a little further along in the process.
All right, we're going to take just a quick break. We will be back with more of your questions for Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.